Cool. Welcome everyone to season 5, episode 3. So in terms of what's going on, we're on the final stages of it coming together. Most likely next week, but not any hard day. It's this week. All the teams together, so things are a bit slower compared to usual. But we're really ironing out a lot of things that will help us go faster in the future. So really cool stuff there. We've got a lot of stuff around the incentives and tokenomics coming closer. So the first feedback round will be from the team, and then we'll start circulating it more broadly from that point. And in terms of bars, the main requirement is make sure it doesn't blow up, and having consistency and reliability on the build. So that's really what the alpha is testing out and finding out all the kind of edge cases within the system. And final bit is we're going to be ideating around what that roadmap for bar looks like in the next coming weeks and months as we go live with it. So key milestones to get it live is just deploying the contracts this week and then tying it together with the 3 different stacks we have, or 4. Cool. And in terms of benefits / platform, so we closed out Olympus DAO, which was really cool. The response on Twitter was great, and their token had a good response to the work that was done. So it's really cool getting that win on the board. And then Union Finance executed an airdrop with the index co-op score and crypto coven hodl score. So another cool integration to get in the bag. And on the benefits and platform side, we're seeing inbound start to come in more aggressively, and we've got a couple of customers that we're working with, but I'll save that for Liam. The key milestones on platform will probably be that first revenue opportunity, but we've still got more value that we need to create before we can think about that, but directionally that's where we're heading. In terms of shoutouts, Al, Liam, Kale, and Stuart, just incredible work last week on putting out fires and getting things over the line. It's there's a lot of things that we're trying to do and really pushing the limits. And I'm glad we've got the infrastructure we've got, but even with what we've got, we need to make it even better and stronger, because the load we're hitting with it is more than we expected. And then challenges like capacity scaling, technical systems, people systems, communication systems. Things are starting to feeling like they're not deteriorating, but getting under pressure. So really figuring out how we start scaling them is directionally what is on my mind. So anyway, that's the overview on mine. I'll pass it over to ARCx.
Cool. So thanks. Can I move this up here?
Sure.
Well? Yeah, cool. So like Kermit said, last week we updated our APIs. Then we did a silent release of the APIs so that we could solve some fires from Olympus, and that went relatively well. Things considered looking back. We improved some Sapphire contracts architecture to save gas. We talked about that last week. So we're getting into some edge cases for handling debt, which Gabriel, Yarrick, and the whole team is pretty much discussing all the time. We also added some credit score history stuff. That was a long time coming. Some UI improvements as always. This week we got a lot of IRL meetings, which is great, because then we realized that half the things that we wanted to do we didn't need to do because we found a better solution. I'm not talking to you, Kale, but I'm talking to you, Kale. And so finishing the gas improvements that they're working on. We want to do some refactoring for the new platform improvements that are coming. We want to release the borrow contracts on Polygon, but that's like a hard maybe. That might be next week. Prepare and test the borrow platform on Polygon. Same thing. That's all kind of tied together. Shout outs to Kale. Ever since I've been in Australia, we've been having great combos. We've been solving each other's problems like crazy. We've also been cooking great meals for each other. So that's awesome. Some challenges as usual, finding time zones across the world that work with the team. Now that Gabe and I are in Australia, it's great, but that doesn't mean that we don't have difficulty syncing with Europe sometimes. There's no one in North America on our team, thank God, for now. But yeah, that's still for sure a challenge that we need to work through. Cool. So I'll throw it over to the Titans.
GM, you might need to increment the slides. Alrighty. So what's going on in our world? Basically, the short answer is that we're really just in this consolidation phase. It's a continuous theme from previous weeks. So it's all about stabilizing the source code, improving performance, making things more maintainable, more scalable. And outside of that, it's really just supporting Liam and Kerman with their sales convos. So lots of support with the business team doing that. This week, really for us, is a lot of it strategic planning. So we're meeting up with the business guys, meeting up with people like Kyle and Gabe to just plan what does Borrow look like, what does platform look like, and really go through those cycles. So that's really just the plan, is that stabilizing and performance scaling. So on that note, one of my shout outs has been to Kyle. We'll just sit there, we'll have a random conversation, and we'll figure out if we just spend, if I spend half an engineering man day, it saves 3 engineering man weeks from Kyle. So lots of those kind of conversations and lots of performance improvements, which is very, very cool. Another big shout out is to Liam. Like, the sales stuff is insane. It's so cool going into the Discord and just seeing people want to talk to us. And it's just just reinforces the fact that all of this hard work is it's hard. It's turning into something. It's very, very exciting. And lastly is to Diego. This guy's been in his cave, pushing out code, working really hard on his own. He's got the most disjoint time zone out of the Titan squad, so big shout out to him for just doing that and going all in and writing specs, which I never really expect him to. Challenges. One of the big challenges is just clarity around this custom scores process. Where it's a new process, it's a new kind of cycle, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of this week's planning is about simplifying that, streamlining that, so it's a case of we're not doing 3 cycles, we're doing 1, and it's perfectly out the door. Or even we get our famous, BD man to actually write his own scripts, which is an exciting concept in the future. So that's it for me. It's over to the Spartans with Liam.
Thanks, Kale. Thanks. So yes, last week we covered that off. Kerman covered that off really well with Olympus DAO. So that was so awesome. So we also met with 3 new projects that had come through and established an initial inbound qualification process in terms of what we're doing. And this one's going to be a really important part of how we deal with lots of inbounds. So the great news is that we're getting a lot. So it's a great problem to solve. And, through more people coming through and having more conversations, I'm really confident that we're going to have a really slick process emerge from that. Big shout outs to Kyle and Gabe this week. So they're over in the land of paradise, which is Sydney, Australia at the moment. And we had a really in-depth session yesterday, and they were leading the platform API documentation. So this is really showing that our platform is coming out into prime time, and I'm incredibly excited to see the work that they're doing come to light in the near future. So yeah, massive shout out there. That gets me super excited, because there's going to be all sorts of people who want to use our platform, and that is going to really be like the go-to sort of eyebrow raising resource that people go and go, wow, I can do a lot with this thing. This is incredible. And how can we build on top of this thing? So I can't stress how important that is for us scaling out and becoming a platform where people can come and use permissionlessly, which is awesome. So this week we have the team co-located. I mean, this has already been mentioned. So there's been some cross-functional activities. I mentioned the API docs, but we've also got scripts for Spartans. That's sort of an understatement of an incredibly complex process that's being sort of ironed out, really for the purpose of making the Spartan team, myself mainly at this stage, being more self-sufficient in terms of how we can service clients. Then there is a big strategy discussion happening tomorrow, just in terms of the things on my mind as I'm tightening that agenda up is really around how do we make our processes more repeatable and less bespoke? How do we think about team growth? So a big thing at the moment is I've, kind of convinced Kerman to come in to help close opportunities so we could play that role. But what's happening is we're learning that there is a huge upsell opportunity and that there's a lot of support that the client wants as they get hungry to use our platform. And Kerman has essentially been dragged into a support role at the moment. So we're trying to get him out of that because he's, that's not where he should probably be spending most of his time. So I'm really keen to help him with that. And we've got some plans on how we might do that with a dedicated score engineer. And there's some thoughts around, other salespeople potentially entering the team as well. So we're going to be thinking about things like that. And then we're also thinking about how do we work with Titan in a really scalable way and what sort of work gets triaged, and also treating Titan like a data product-y team in a way, and looking at how we're shipping data products and things like that. So there's just the big challenge is really how do we develop repeatable processes while not missing out on any growth opportunities, not assuming that how we're currently serving people is how we're going to be serving them in the future, but also not, creating a new solution for every person that comes through as well. So there's going to be a balance there. So that's everything from me. I'm going to hand over to Hugh to talk about product and growth.
Hey everybody. So last week in product world, there was a lot of work on refining our launch plan for Borrow. So this is the very tactical plan on how we actually launch Alpha. And it changed a bit last week, as was mentioned, with some contract updates that you need to go through. But yeah, we're basically in a spot now, pretty confident to get a version out by sometime, I don't want to make dates and promises, but sometime later next week would be a really good stage for us to feel pretty well set up there. And we'll be announcing more as that, as the reality of the business changes. Also, a bit of time was spent, actually quite a lot of time was spent just strategic planning with IRL workshops. This is going to continue this week. We've got the Brains Trust of Stuart, God, I was going to say Kale, Stuart, Kyle, and Gabe, all in this in Sydney. And while we have the opportunity, we should be thinking about how do we make best use of the giga intelligence of that group. So, from my end, it's really about directing the team to answer those questions and find out kind of bring order to some of the chaos. And so that will continue this week with a number of sessions. And then the other thing on the product side was just a lot of Figma designs for the next phase of Borrow and platform. This is a lot of things like our supply pools, thinking through the future of the skins product. So our passport, how that looks, what that actually going to look like, so on and so forth. And on the platform side, how would we think about the platform with respect to the Borrow product? Very different customer segments and very different, conversion pathways. So just need to think through that critically. On the marketing side, we wrote a job description for a graphic designer. We are keen to start improving our the quality and the aesthetic of our social media posts on Twitter, as well as our Substack posts. So we're taking a leaf out of the playbook of what good looks like in this side of things in crypto. Examples would be things like Spooky Swap, ARCx, even Abracadabra. They do an extremely good job at marketing. So try to take a bit of inspiration there and build a war chest of templates that we can start using when we do product announcements, scheduling AMAs, and partnership announcements, amongst others. So that's kind of the value there of the graphic designer. And then also we obviously went live with Olympus DAO, which is amazing. So I was brought in to do the co-marketing of that, thinking through what that actually should be and how to build a repeatable process around that is important too. So that was part of that. And then on the community side, we implemented Discord community channels and onboarding. You'll see it looks pretty clean now. I'm hoping if anyone has feedback on the channels, if they want more or they want less or they don't see value, we can always change. But this is, I think, manageable and clean enough for the future. And I don't have it written here because I'm a goof, but the big shout out here is I just want to send my heartfelt congratulations to to Corey. I also want to say thank you to Joel because Joel's been great, and I was just looking at his name on the stage. But I just want to say congratulations to Corey for the Pope of Hope. That is a massive thing, and I just wanted to maybe just take a moment for everyone on the call to just give a round of applause for the amazing work there. So
thank you, Corey.
Yeah. Now it's been called out that this is a pure ceremonial role, and I know that there was some contentious voting if you look at Snapshot, but I just want to reassure everyone in the community that this role is a high leverage and important role for the future of ARCx. So in all seriousness, we're just trying to have fun. But no, I just want to say thanks for that. Corey's actually just been amazing at providing insights and helping us to build something that's high value. And yeah, we really appreciate it. So looking ahead to this week on Product World, again, I mentioned various workshops with the Sydney crew. One of those sessions will be synchronous QA on Borrow Alpha later this week. Also going to spend time on the Borrow roadmap definition. So like what assets, what stable coins, what features are we going to build and when? And it's very closely tied in with risk. So there's going to be like a proper DVF kind of lens of this. And finally, on the product side, various specs and designs for product. This is just a whole bunch of little things that are coming up. On marketing, it's the Borrow Program Explainer content. So again, another workshop in this week. So how do we actually communicate how somebody can get a one-to-one loan on their Ethereum collateral? And so like, what does that journey look like? What do you have to do to get there and so on? And then on the community side, just ongoing moderation and customer support on Discord. And that's it for
cool. Sweet, thanks for that, Hugh. Yeah, very exciting times in ARCx land. I don't think we have any questions. Let me see, flip through the channels.
There is actually a community, Kevin. Joe posted a few questions this morning.
Okay, cool. So what do we think the addressable market is for platform? The simple answer is every project that has a token, whether it's an NFT or an ERC20, that's really the addressable market here, because every one of these projects has objectives they're trying to meet. But even outside of, I would say it's even outside of those that have tokens, because what we're even speaking with pre-token projects, and fundamentally what we're learning is like this can be a retention engine, it can be a growth engine, or it can be an acquisition engine for the customers that we work with. And very broadly speaking, that's something that every DAO is, or project or company is aspiring to do. And the role that we can play is to fill that need through the data and infrastructure that we have to power those business objectives. So the addressable market, it's very, very large. Based on the conversations we're receiving, I don't think there's a single customer where we've been, we can't really solve a problem for them, because the use case in general applicability of this technology is very broad and very powerful. In terms of what opportunities we are coming down the sales pipeline, we can allude to it briefly, but until they're closed, we take a hard stance on not disclosing them, just to manage expectations and privacy for the customers we're working with. In terms of what is the benefits program and what kind of benefits does it offer? So the way we like to think about it is their objectives. So a project wants to grow, and their behaviors to achieve the objective, and a program that will power that objective in some way. So it could be a benefits program, it could be, say, a loyalty program, but in terms of the benefits, it really depends on the project that we're engaged in and what benefits they can offer their users. And we have a product offering and infrastructure to help enable those benefits. And we're still fleshing out understanding that, but it's it's still something that we're refining and we'll have greater clarity on. When is the white paper being released? In the next few-ish weeks. We're still getting some reviews from investors and advisors and ironing things out. And in terms of how can I get involved in testing the Borrow product. So I think once we're done with the alpha test release within the team, we'll then be able to circulate it out to more circles. But we want to take a very careful and measured approach. And essentially, it's like getting this product right is more important than making it grow as quick as we can, because it is a risky product by nature. We're pushing the bounds of what it means to enable like capital efficiency through some very novel and very expressive technology. So we're of course pushing as hard as we can, but I think we're reaching a point now where we've got a lot of really good confirmation from the market that what we're doing is valuable and needed. And to anyone watching this call, I think this week or even last week feels like the tipping point. So it'll be interesting to see from this point how that pace picks up. But already, just like even as a team, we really feel it getting to heightened levels where like hiring is becoming something on our mind, and it's just really making that strategic decision of like, okay, we've got a certain amount of runway. Do we start burning that more aggressively to start scaling out, because we've got a lot stronger confirmation that the product that we're developing and the technology is needed. So it is very exciting times in ARCx. And if you're watching this video, as you've probably been watching over the past few weeks, if you even go back to like end of last year, we're trying to develop the infrastructure. We've run into this issue. We're trying to make Passport scalable, or our infrastructure is broken. And we've resolved all of that by late Jan. And then it's only in the past 3 weeks where we've kind of, a lot of that, I'd say a year's worth of work is now crystallizing in these next few months in terms of the applicability of it. So all that to say, the Borrow white paper is and getting involved is coming soon, but we're running into capacity issues just through the nature of other things going well. So yeah, thanks all for joining in, and to whoever asked those questions. Yeah, those are really great questions, and hopefully provide additional context. So thanks everyone, and we'll catch you around next week. Goodbye.